This episode contains mature language and situations. Listener discretion is advised. You wake to the sound of a train. The clack, clack, clack of wheels. In the distance, is that the sound of birds in a forest? No. It's angels in a choir. Or is it demons from hell? It doesn't matter. You have no memory of how you got here. All you know is that you're lost, and that now you belong to the Grey Rooms. Hello, roomies, and welcome to episode 19. We made it. Welcome to the final regular season episode for season 4. We really couldn't do this without the support from each and every one of you guys. From our loyal listeners, patrons, cast, and crew, we thank each and every one of you as you helped not only this season, but in growing our show. And speaking of our show, we got one final tale from the pen of Nick Manzolillo. Make sure you pick your numbers, get your Powerballs in place, and let's end this season with a bang. Thank you for listening. And we'd like to remind everyone that Grey Rooms Productions has expanded its reach. We now have access to Control Operator Jeff and the Ghost Signal podcast. True tales about hauntings, sightings, the paranormal, and exorcisms from beyond the grave. Search for the Ghost Signal on Spreaker or your favorite podcatcher. And visit Jeff and the Ghost Signal at theghostsignalpodcast.com. So without further ado, please enjoy episode 19.
We're fucked. We're completely fucked.
Calm down. All we have to do is
When has anyone calmed down after being told to do so? You tree-hugging elves are all the same.
I wasn't the one who questioned him alone. You were impatient, as always.
Where were you? Management wants answers, and you just disappeared.
I ensured that our female guest would no longer be a problem.
Yeah? Well, if we didn't have the extra protections put in place by the Alienist Lodge, they might have found a way to escape.
Escape where? Further into hell?
Seriously? We'll be lucky if management doesn't erase our existence at this rate. We didn't exactly leave the big battle at a good time. Belial is gonna be pissed when he finds out. I should be summoning more demon spawn for use there, not here in the Grey Rooms. And how the fuck did that bitch get her magic back?
I only meant to return some of her non-essential memories. The very nature of these rooms makes magic tricky at best. At least we still have the angel contained.
The Robo-Man thinks he's his son.
We need to keep Azrael away from them. I'll renew the wards on his chains. Then we'll take care of our guests. There. That should hold until we deal with our other problems. I'll help guide the one called Findley. He'll lead the group here, then we can spring our trap. Call upon your minions to help motivate our guests.
We're fucked. We're so fucked.
Could pick you up after your trip through the doors, but I still don't understand how we're on the side of a mountain and still inside of a train car.
Jesus, Zukk. I thought soldiers paid attention to little details. For the last time, the train cars are pockets of an alternate reality, a subspace.
And we're in hell.
Sure, science stuff. Got it. I don't even know what system hell is in, but whatever. I don't think our escape plan is working.
I'm not leaving without Danyelle.
There could be an infinite amount of train cars. We don't even know if your son's here. I say you let me try to manipulate the space.
Your type of energy could be very disruptive. Unintended consequences and all that. But if you think you can control it...
Hey, warn a guy next time before you throw half a mountain.
What did I say about control? You're gonna collapse for space with us inside it, or worse.
I'm sorry. It's all still coming back to me. This power sometimes kind of feels like holding a skillet over a stove.
Over here! I found the passage to the next car. Imani, please, for all our sakes, see if you can exercise just a bit more restraint.
I hate being near her when she uses her mojo. It makes me feel like static inside of a radio. This is new.
This room is different from the others. That's because it's been altered.
So, we're in a giant abandoned factory at night? Wish I could talk to the madman who created this place. Huh, they're keeping with the we're on a train motif. Feels odd being in an open space, but when I look out the window, everything is in motion.
Technically, the spaces are in constant motion.
Did you hear chains? Look, there at the end. I see someone. They're chained to the wall.
Danyelle?
Wait. Something's off. It feels like...
Someone's watching you.
You're mine, bitch!
Bring it on.
Hello, Zukk.
Watch out! He's charged with a strange energy. I can see it glowing beneath his skin.
I don't think you need your mask anymore.
It was somewhat restrictive.
What the hell?
I shot him in the face on Lupin 7.
I think it's about time we settle this. Care to tell me who paid you to do it?
Your mother, Queen Tatiana.
Liar.
Who do you think supplied the ammunition?
That's a Fey ogre! Danyelle, stay there. I'm on my way. Hold still. I'll free you.
Thought this was supposed to be your domain.
It is.
My mother would never consort with your kind.
It wasn't the first job she's asked me to do. They royalty don't like getting their hands dirty.
Kryze, call them in now.
Zukk! Findley! We gotta go! It's too much!
One more lock. You're not Danyelle. What are you?
Zukk! Are you okay? Where's Findley?
He was at ground zero of that blast. I don't think he made it. Shit. My rifle broke.
I tried to save him. It was too much.
Hey, snap out of it. We still need to find a safe place to lay low. How the hell did the train survive all of that energy? Looks like most of it's still intact. Over there. It looks like part of a platform. I don't like the look of that beast.
There's only one door.
You thinking what I'm thinking?
I don't know if it'll allow both of us to enter.
No time to test any theories. Go, go, go!
The architect's gonna be pissed that we let the angel free.
Not as pissed as Belial is going to be if we don't get back to the real battle in that other realm.
Do they both go through the door at the same time? Isn't it dangerous?
I don't really know. The rooms are a unique place in the realms. It may be just a stroke of luck we needed. Regardless, souls will continue to flow into the Grey Rooms, and our guests will both be weakened on their return.
Where'd Robo-Man go?
He was destroyed, along with most of our reinforcements when Azrael teleported back to the Mount. The amount of energy needed to escape almost destroyed the rooms. The girl, the Imani, saved everything.
Yeah, but not everyone. Sorry, but not sorry about your beast.
We need to return to the battlefield. Moth needs our assistance.
I doubt your cousin needs anyone's help. He's done just fine on his own.
Which worries me why he's reaching out now. Let's go. We can worry about the rooms later. Bring your Baylor. We may need him.
Sitting in a room with a two-way mirror was weird. I wasn't a criminal, but I couldn't figure out why the mirror was in the room. The Connecticut State Lottery Commission had to have its reasons. The meeting room walls were white with chipped paint, and the table I sat at was a sheet of metal that distorted my reflection. The more I sat and looked at the mirror, the more I couldn't lie to myself anymore. I felt like I was about to be punished for something. I had a sneaking suspicion that if I tried the handle on the door, it would be locked. I stared at the door and tried to ignore the mirror. My husband Paul was a winner, we were winners, and this was probably standard protocol meant to keep them safe. Money had never been tight, but the idea of never having to listen to another client's problems sounded nice. Paul had always talked about traveling. He kept a spreadsheet on his computer of all the places worth visiting with a sub-list of reasons why. Waiting in this room was a good thing. Our lives would be changed forever once we left it. There were con artists that would want to scam us, long-lost cousins and half-forgotten friends trying to get in touch, and potentially even criminals looking to take what they can by force. Paul had a lawyer all ready to go. The next time we returned to the commission office, we would sign the forms and get our direct deposit. $80 million after taxes. The bland door swung open, and a man in a suit with his hair slicked back sat down at the table without a greeting. Something about the way he walked, flexing and stretching his jacket and pants at the seams, gave me the impression that he wasn't used to wearing suits.
Mrs. Dupont, we have your husband in the other room. He's fine. I just have a few questions we'd like you to answer.
Well, sure. And please call me Helen.
Helen, when and how did you meet your husband?
We've been together for about 11 years. We met during a New Year's party, if you can believe it.
During a New Year's party? And how specifically did you meet? Were you introduced by a friend, or...
The question was a bit too personal, not to mention weird, for a state lotto guy to bring up to the wife of a winner. But I didn't mind answering. If anything, I'd hoped it would move this silly process along faster. He walked right up to me and started talking about the whale shark exhibit they had gotten at the aquarium. I love aquariums, and his being so interested, not to mention handsome, really made him stand out.
That is a little unusual, is it not? For a stranger to appear in front of you talking about something you love.
No, not really. He wouldn't have become my husband if I wasn't interested in what he had to say. Those sharks were a big deal back then.
Did anything else funny happen that night, Mrs. Dupont?
Well, apparently he wasn't even invited to the party. It was a work thing. He said that he was in the building after hours and happened to crash it.
He is an IT guy, am I right?
Yes, that's why he was in the building that night. And then the thought came. Did the commission think Paul cheated somehow? Like, counting cards? Did they think he was some kind of hacker? Is my husband okay? He's an honest man. If you're implying he didn't win fairly, besides telling them the DuPont family lawyer would be pissed, I couldn't think of a threat. I hated the type of person who claimed to sue somebody when they didn't get their way. This was just a big misunderstanding, if it even was one at all.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Dupont, but if there is one thing you leave this room knowing, it is that your husband is the furthest thing from an honest man.
I had started to say something and then stopped. Would we still get the money if I insulted this crazy, awkward man? Paul was being accused of something, and the Lotto Commission was trying to rob us of the winnings. My husband won fair and square.
He obeyed the rules of the game, sure.
Where is my husband? None of this made sense. Why was he questioning me? Could they even do this? They didn't have any real authority, did they? I knew they didn't need a badge to be in charge. These guys were the ones with all of the money, and they could do whatever they wanted.
He's being asked a few questions, the same as you. Then we will return him. After we go over our findings, we shall return you as well.
With the money?
Ma'am, can you tell me the odds of winning the lottery?
What does that have to do with anything?
The odds of picking the correct numbers are the same as you taking damn near every single person in this country, throwing them into some massive field, and then the first one of them you walk up to is being someone you know.
I'll get struck by lightning 1,000 times. This was something my chain-smoking, keno-playing grandmother used to say at family cookouts while she worked her way through a stack of scratch tickets with her fingernails.
Exactly.
The Lotto man sat back in his chair. His sports jacket slid aside to reveal the black butt of a gun holstered at his waist. Just like that, I stopped wondering if this was some kind of joke.
I'll tell you a secret. There is a way to beat the odds that only a few people manage to succeed in each year. Your husband is one of them.
He didn't guess the numbers?
No, ma'am, he did not. He knew each one he punched in. Among many other reasons, he only purchased a single ticket.
Paul was never a gambler. I'd never seen him do a scratch ticket or play the lottery. He joked about it, though. He joked about it so much that I assumed he played. But Paul had never come home with a single ticket for as long as I'd known him. Until the day he won. So you're not going to give us the money. Paul beat the system, but he wasn't smart enough to get away with it. I couldn't blame him for that. He did something that next to nobody else could accomplish. I'd picked right. I'd chosen a winner, regardless of what he had in his bank account.
When did you first realize you were in love with Paul?
I'm not going to tell you that. What would he do to me? The man didn't reach for his gun. He merely frowned, a hint of sadness in his eyes.
This is for your benefit, Mrs. Dupont. I'm trying to help you realize something. At least do me a favor and think of the answer. Take your time.
I fell in love with Paul within a month. If there was something to be said about somebody being so perfect you couldn't imagine a life without them, Paul was it. He was everything I'd ever dreamed of. Everything I'd ever confessed to my friends about hoping to find. The fear was finally realized. Paul was too perfect, molded just for me, a custom portrait of a lover. He'd never even hinted at being unfaithful, and sure, we've argued good-naturedly, but I've never screamed at him. One of my colleagues had once told me it's healthy to fight with your spouse. I really thought our marriage was better than everyone else's.
Paul Dupont pre-calculated every reaction you would have since that New Year's, at the party where you met. These past 11 years may have felt random to you, but they were not.
I don't understand.
You possibly never will. I hope you can at least get an idea of what your husband has done. To be honest, he doesn't love you.
My husband loves me. I couldn't imagine him not loving me. I was beginning to understand the idea that he had lied, but how big of a lie was it? And how long had it been going on?
Your husband met you before you met him. He lived nearly an entire lifetime before you met him, and he seized the opportunity to live another life again, using extremely rare technology. He lived it again with notes, dates, addresses, and people. He wrote down a lot of numbers, some of which he used for his winning ticket.
The Lotto man was insane. When you're being pranked by an insane person, it's less of a prank and more of a horror show. I wondered if the Lotto man was going to hurt me. All I had was the chair I sat on. I could try and swing it at him. I could try and take the gun. He did seem awfully stiff and immobile in that sports jacket of his.
Mrs. Dupont, your husband has experienced the future. He transported his consciousness back in time. We have a system in place to catch people like him. He will not be harmed, but we cannot let him leave.
That's not legal. I want to leave now.
Your husband broke a law that has not been written yet. This law has a statute of limitations that lasts up to a century, before and after the crime was committed. You may leave, but I'll need to escort you out.
I got up. And the Lotto man didn't react as I walked past him. As I approached the door, the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. As I walked through the same gray and white corridor I originally came through, I was caught as I passed an open door. My husband sat at a table with 3 men sitting opposite him. The 3 suits were trained on him, watching his every move, their weapons displayed at their hips. My eyes drifted back to Paul, and he matched my stare, his eyes wide in horror.
I'm sorry!
Paul had jumped to his feet, but the other men around the table didn't react. The men turned to look at me with pity.
Helen! I did it all for you!
Paul, who was usually so composed and calm, was now bursting like a zit. He was no longer the man I knew. Instead of the love I held for him, I felt only pain and pity in my heart. It was the same pity you feel when you look in on someone's life, far from your own. Something about what the Lotto man had told me about Paul being too perfect formed a sour taste in my mouth. Before I knew it, the Lotto man came and ushered me along the corridor before I could say a word to Paul.
He did it all for himself, even if he did love you. I know how this sounds, but you were supposed to meet another man. You were supposed to start a different family, and it seems like it doesn't matter anymore because you were enjoying your life. But it was not supposed to be this way. He altered 1,000 lives just for his own selfishness. Please, turn into the next room.
I should have known we weren't walking toward the front of the building in the way I had come in. This place was a never-ending maze of white walls and unlabeled doors. Turning the last corner, the Lotto man led me into a room with high ceilings and a spider web of wires and pipes spiraling along the floors and walls. At the center of the room, surrounded by 2 men in white lab coats, was what could only be described as a giant mechanical spider. It was made of metal with 6 long appendages. The machine had a series of straps at its center. They appeared to be made for locking a person in place.
This machine will bring you back to yourself on New Year's Day 2010. You'll be painless, and you'll not remember a thing. It will allow you to live the life you were always meant to.
Please, I don't want to forget. I was happy before I came here. Paul is my husband. Despite what he's done, he has changed from who he was when he met me. If he was acting, he became the act. There's nobody other than the Paul I know.
Mrs. DuPont, I'm sorry, but you're lucky. You're being given an opportunity most victims don't get. People like Paul who travel back do not always go for the lottery and make it obvious. They twist the whole world to their whim and never get discovered. We do not even have an accurate statistic for the number of people robbed of lives they were supposed to have.
I'm losing what made me happy. This right here is making me a victim. I didn't believe this. I couldn't. This was a mistake. Paul wasn't from the future. He couldn't be. But then the Lotto man drew his gun, and I couldn't ignore the weapon.
Approach the machine. We'll strap you in. You'll hear a hum, and then you'll get an honest redo.
You might as well shoot me. Everything about myself will die if I go back to who I was. I didn't even have my license to operate back then. I'll never meet some of my friends because of my life with Paul. You're killing someone who's been alive for 11 years.
I know.
I turned and finally saw it. The black eye of the gun hovering over me, ready to blot me out. The weapon didn't waver. There was nothing left that I could say to convince him of the truth I knew about Paul. Instead, I turned and approached the machine. The men in white lab coats, both nearly identical with their balding heads and gray facial hair, strapped me in. I opened my mouth to say something more, but then the world went black.
I hated lying to the victims. But what was the alternative? Tell them the whole truth right off the bat? I'm sorry, madam, but because of interdimensional politics, your life is forfeit. Please follow me to your death. Cleaning up a timeline was messy at best. I felt for Helen as I stared at the corpse strapped into the interlocking metal poles. I was thankful it was not my job to carry her to the incinerator. Such a waste of life. Her mind was free, and the branching timelines were finally being pruned. At least, that was what I was told. At least, that was what I told myself on the walk back to interrogation room 4. Once there, I would put a bullet in Paul Lepon's head. Then I would mop up the blood and dispose of the corpse myself, because Paul, and the dirty cheaters like Paul, ruined the world the rest of us had to keep on living in. I just cleaned up the messes they left in their wake.
Luckless, written by Nick Manzolillo, with performances by Nhea Durousseau as Helen and the narrator, Karim Kronfli as the Lotto man, and Graham Rowat as Paul. And Then the Wolves Came, written by Arthur Unk, featuring performances by Brandon Greene as Caliban, Danyelle Ellet as Imani, Jack Carmichael as Findley, Jeff Clement as Zukk, and Tanja Milojevic as Kryze. Musical composition was by J.M. Scherf. Episode artwork, web development, and creative direction by Cassie Pertite. Social media and Patreon management is by Brooks Bigley. Videography is by Hale Scherf. And audio engineering and sound design is by me, Jason Wilson. Time to go play my numbers and buy some scratchies down at the liquor store. The jackpot for the Powerball is back to another record high, baby. Well, roomies, last stop is in sight and we're coming in hot. We've enjoyed having you with us on this season's journey through hell. There's nothing like going on a long trip with good friends. Thank you all for the memories along the way. We couldn't do this without the support of our roomies. And we don't care if you're part of the Bob Squad, a cheerleader for Team Samantha, or just one of the Warden's hapless victims. We thank you for your time. We would like to take the time and thank our patrons, and to any of those who have taken the time to leave us a 5-star rating and a review. Those reviews keep us at the top of the charts and makes it easier for more twisted souls to find the show. Patrons like Bepsy Man, Ellen Houghton, Eric Pritchard, Eric Phones, Jackobot Snows, Lynn Browning, Matthew Smithdeal, Patrick Stewart, Ronan Kumori, Sean Gary, Kale Shade, and Doozer Pendon. Now you can find the Grey Rooms on Spotify, iTunes, or your favorite podcatcher. And we're also now available on iHeartRadio's Spreaker app, so download the iHeart Spreaker app today, or open the browser and search The Grey Rooms. And we here at The Grey Rooms love our fans and want to give back to you in the best way that we know how. We have a lot of fun things to show you, and we hope that you like them. You can find out more by joining us on social media. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, Reddit, Twitter, and Facebook. And we took your advice and extended an olive branch to all of the tortured souls who have passed through the rooms. Our emotional support group is always looking to help you with all of your needs. And don't forget about our merch store. It's full of epic designs and logos for you to sport, showing the world that you are a survivor of these very rooms. All of this can be found in the show notes or on our website at thegrayrooms.com. And be sure to check out the Ghost Signal. If you want to hear real-life tales of terror, visit our friend Control Operator Jeff at theghostsignalpodcast.com. Do it. You won't regret it. And have you checked out our Discord server? If you only listen to the podcast, you're only getting half the experience. Join for free to hang out with Grey Room's cast and crew, watch movies, listen to music, play games, or learn to write your very own horror story. Our community grows daily, and you can meet and interact with like-minded fans from all over the world. And you can read your very own unabridged copy of 100 Miles to the Restroom by Willie Make It in our exclusive Board of Directors bathroom. Top-notch quality stuff in there. Well, 19. Now on to the finale, right? There's a lot of work left to be done before we conclude this season. And this finale has got to send you off with a bang. So I'm going to go ahead and dive right back in to the pool of mangoes and green peppers and rubber mallets and watermelons to get those sounds just right for your audio excitement. So hang tight. We have our compilation coming up. And then we close this bad boy out. And then, don't think it ends there, because we have a lot in store for you in the off-season. That's going to be exciting. So thanks again for your support. We're going to get back into it. So till next time, thanks again. We love you. Thank you for supporting us. Please spread the word. Help us grow this as fast as we possibly can. We couldn't even be where we're at now without your support. So till next time, thanks. And we'll see you next week.
This has been a Grey Rooms production. Copyright 2022-2023. All rights reserved, unless otherwise stated.